I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in February of 24, just about a little over a year ago. That diagnosis was based upon cerebral spinal fluid taken from a spinal tap. That is a definitive diagnosis method other than autopsy, which I told them I preferred not to do just yet. Um, I think it was in 2022 that I first really started noticing some issues. I'm a retired senior status judge from the state of Mississippi, but I live in Covington, Louisiana. I was doing woodworking when I wasn't involved in other projects, and I started to notice that I couldn't figure certain things out, that trying to get exact measurements, trying to um, see how to make boards come together. I just couldn't imagine that result, even though I had been doing that for the couple of years prior to that. I'd been doing pretty extensive woodworking in my spare time. So the next time I saw my primary care doctor, I put that on a list of concerns. I think it was one of those regular checkups. And they gave me a little simple test that the nurse actually, maybe even the nurse's assistant, administered. I think it's called a mini cog. It's 2 or 3 questions. And he told me when I saw the doctor that there were two of those that indicated some issues that probably needed further exploration. He diagnosed it as mild cognitive impairment based on that simple test. Since that time, I was referred to a neurologist at Ochsner's in New Orleans, Dr. James Rennie, and through a very extensive set of tests and many scans and all sorts of other things, but ultimately the spinal tap, they determined that I do have Alzheimer's, and the stage of my Alzheimer's is mild cognitive impairment. That stage changes, as I understand it, if and when, no, when, when you reach the place where you're not able to perform one or more basic daily life functions. Couldn't take your medicine, couldn't drive, um, couldn't cook for yourself, things like that. So that was the beginning of my journey, and that was in February of 24. And let me just stop and say that as I understand it, and I recognize that there's a lot that even the most trained experts don't know about what I'm talking about, and I'm certainly not one of those trained experts, that the process of development of the plaque, the amyloid beta plaque, and the p-tau tangles um, develops over decades. So when I'm talking about the beginning, I'm talking about the beginning from the standpoint of me being aware of it. A few months after that spinal tap diagnosis, Dr. Rennie suggested, and I agreed to pursue a course of treatment through a drug called lecanemab, Lecanemab, also known as Leqembi. I think that's Lequembi, and that's by a series of infusions that take place over a period of about 18 months, and they're once every 2 weeks. So I think there's a total, I believe, of 42 or something close to that. I have now received 23 of those treatments. The lecanemab treatment outcome, according to their material, is that the drug would push back the onset of disease level that leaves you pretty much not able to do anything. In other words, it would extend your meaningful lifespan by something in the neighborhood of 18 months, give or take. So I am almost a year, 10 months into the process, and recent numbers indicated that my plaque and tangles, to make it simple, numbers have gone down. They're actually down at the level where if you were testing today and you got those numbers, you would not classify it as Alzheimer's. Now, they've explained to me that doesn't mean that I don't still have it, and it's not a cure, but it has had an effect. And if we could draw examples or analogies to other types of illnesses that, for example, cancer that might be considered at various stages. So mine is in the earliest stage, the mild cognitive impairment stage, and it's not known at this point. But if those numbers continue to stay down in the area where they are now, then I'm told that there is a possibility, if it were approved by insurance, that they could continue this treatment beyond the 18 months that it typically is limited to. And if the numbers stay down, the term remission might be an appropriate description of where things are in that regard. So that's some basic background information, and I'm going to hit the pause button, so to speak, and I'm going to do another video soon that will give you a more personal experience of what I've been through during that time since the diagnosis. So thank you. I hope this is helpful. My goal is to talk about this to help others, to help me as well, and also in a broader sense to talk about mental health issues, because there's so much at stake and so little advocacy that I see for those issues, and advocacy for people struggling with those issues. Because even at this late date in the history of our existence, there's still a huge stigma attached to mental health issues, and they're not viewed by others as something similar to having an illness with a joint or of your body, or a systemic disease like cancer or other things. And so I would love to see that change. And I'll share more next time what my experience has been with that over the years, over many, many years. Thank you for listening. God bless you.